My mother was arrested when I was 9 years old. I still remember the heavy knocks at the door at 7:05 in the morning. My little sister and we were in the kitchen eating breakfast. And I distinctly remember because I was on my third spoon of Fruit Loops when I heard it. 2 officers at the door, my stepdad looking scared and confused, my mom on the steps, just looking defeated. And the officers, they kept saying, "Papers, papers, where are your papers?" And I remember thinking to myself, this sounds like a pretty important piece of paper. I mean, the cops are here. What did she do? Now, before I continue on, I must say that this isn't some political grab to persuade you to one side or the other. This is simply my story, a family story, or even your story. Ultimately, my goal tonight is to show you how a single event plus a period of time can forever change the trajectory of a child's life. So fast forward a few months, and my mom was deported. My little sister and I went along with her, and we found ourselves on a plane to our home country of Sierra Leone. I remember when we arrived in the airport, the heat, it was so thick. It was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. We chartered a taxi on the way into the city, and I think the discomfort was so clearly shown on my face, because the taxi driver just turned and looked at me and said, "Welcome to Freetown." Over the next 2 years began a series of adjustments. New people, new rules, new life, just a new way of living. And then illness, a life-threatening illness, struck me, and it struck me hard. And it became clear that I wouldn't be able to receive the proper care that I needed. So arrangements were made back in the US and for me to live with my godparents, and at 11 years old, I left my mom and sister behind. Thus began an 8-year separation. So my story, it's personal, but it's not unique. Research shows that every year, millions of children are separated from their parents or family members, whether it's through foster care, adoption, immigration, incarceration. All different causes, and yet the outcomes are painfully the same. Children who experience separation often also experience anxiety, depression, feeling withdrawn from society, acting out behaviors like anger, defiance, academic struggles, difficulty making friends, or even more long-term effects like post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse, the inability to form intimate, stable relationships. And while it may feel safer, it might even be safer to entrust a child with a foster parent or a trusted relative, a guardian, research shows that from a child's perspective, and I can attest to this too, losing a parent is like losing a piece of yourself. And age matters too. From 9 months old to 9 years old, these are the most critical times for separation, the most harmful. Why? Because these are the very years where a child is learning to trust, establishing who they are, finding that sense of belonging. Remember when you were that age? I know for me, it was anxiety, going into survival mode, feeling like I have to brace myself because the next life-changing event was around the corner. For my sister back in Sierra Leone, it was abandonment, anger, feeling the need to grow up quickly, what research calls parentification. And for my mom, it was grief. Really, for all of us, it was grief. Grief without closure, grief without understanding, grief of the life she thought she was going to have. So, in 2018, we were reunited, and it was the most joyful day of my life. It was a complete surprise to me, and I was just so grateful, so grateful. And while the moment was life-changing, I quickly realized that the years that followed would take healing and restoration. Because the distance between us wasn't just land and sea and time zones. It was experiences, birthdays, routines, habits, thought processes. And for so many families like ours, if and when reunification occurs, it's not a question of, well, you're finally back together again. Yes, that's great, it's awesome. But it also becomes, who are you now? And who am I now? And what's our new normal? So, there is hope. The effects of separation don't have to be long-lasting. There are evidence-based solutions. Take foster care, for example. If we switch from pouring resources into systems that divide families, we can shift from a child protection focus to a family protection focus, keeping the unit together if the situation allows. Or for cases outside of our control, like illness or death, training professionals and community partners to walk alongside family members so that they feel almost like kin or extended relatives to family and children. Or in more common cases, like divorce or deportation, hassle-free access to mental health resources so that we can help children early on so the traumatic events don't have to become deep-seated wounds. This may look like in-house certified mental health specialists in schools, especially in elementary schools. Why? Because an NIH study shows that 33% of children experience at least one stressful, life-changing event before the 5th grade. And can you guess around what age that is? Around 9 years old. So tonight, I don't want to just share my story. I want to share our story. Because the reality is, at least one of us in this room has experienced one of the situations I've listed. And all of us will experience one. So I'd like to highlight to you that separation is not just a policy issue or something that unfortunately happens to some people. It's a psychological event in a child's mind. It forever changes their outlook on the world. It's a family issue. It's a family issue. But with the right resources and support, children can heal, families can be restored, cycles of trauma can be broken. Let's reimagine how we care for children, how we keep the family unit together. Because every child deserves more than just stability and survival. Those things are necessary, yes, But I can tell you a child also needs consistency, wholeness, feeling understood, that sense of belonging. Thank you.